Welcome to the PowerBook 2 Ghost Recap. Tariq St. Patrick, a politically connected student, attends Stansfield, a prestigious private school facilitated by Simon Stern and friend of James St. Patrick. In the immediate aftermath of James or Ghost's death, an investigation was led, which alleged that Tasha was guilty. She was arrested and Tariq fought with the legal system, continuing his father's drug empire. His conditions for entering Stansfield is ensuring that Zeke Cross, a star ball player with prospects in the NBA, passes all his classes, and he becomes his roommate. His auntie is Monet Tejada, a major drug kingpin in the area with ties to Lorenzo Tejada, who is currently imprisoned. His influence reaches beyond the walls. Tamika is initially Tasha's attorney, and retrieves a plea deal for her to do 5 years. But through questioning, she realizes that Tasha is trying to protect Tariq as he had killed Ghost. This discovery leads to Tasha firing her. Without legal counsel, Tariq runs into Davis McLean, a highly proficient and expensive criminal defense attorney with a high success rate. Without sufficient funds, he is unable to hire McLean. Tariq starts the deal at Stansfield using Bash, an investor and friend of Ghost. They set up Course Correct, an app that supplies drugs and is a front for tutoring. As Zeke's tutor, he uses this to get close to the Tejada family and start a deal with Monet Tejada to supply him with the drugs. Her condition is that Zeke can't be a part of it, so he moves out of the dorm into Braden Weston's room, a friend from Choate, who is extremely wealthy. The family had helped build multiple university buildings. Their surname precedes them so much so that when his brother Trace punches a police officer, they have to release him. He uses Zeke's social media influence to force Davis McLean to work for them as Tasha's attorney, using his drug money to help pay for him. Their opposing counsel is Sachs, a US attorney trying to prosecute Tasha for Ghost's murder. In Stansfield, he joins the Canonical Studies class, making friends with Lauren and Professors Jabari and Carrie Milgram. They have a secret unprofessional sexual relationship. Once they break up, Jabari pines for his chance to get back together, and he learns that she is dating a student. He assumes this to be Tariq because of their close interactions. In actuality, it is Zeke Cross, and in a moment of weakness they started their affair. Without enough evidence to convict, and with external pressures of Stephen Ott firing him, Sachs is forced to use illegal methods to gain evidence. When Riley, his cousin, is arrested, he strikes a deal with her to spy on Tariq. Getting to know Braden, she spikes Tariq's drink, and when he is passed out in Trace's room, she turned on the GPS to track him. Trace ran into them and assumed that Tariq had smashed Riley. She eventually got into a relationship with Braden. However, she accidentally admitted that she spiked Tariq's drink, and following her to trial, he realizes that Sachs is her uncle. Braden and her now break up. The trial commences, and Tariq is called to the stand. Coached by Tamika, he discloses the illegalities that Sachs used by drugging him and his habitual pattern for targeting the St. Patricks with Ghost's previous trial. The judge moves to dismiss the case. Ultimately, she is given the plea deal of snitching on Tommy Egan's entire crew, and she will be placed into witness protection, and Tariq forces her to agree. With this information out, they lead a sting operation on Tommy, but he crashes his car into a gas station and it goes up in flames. 2-Bit, a member of Egan's crew, visits Tariq for money, which Ghost had promised him, and warning him that Tommy is coming after Tasha. He quickly gets her out with Witzek, and Monet saves him from his death, leaving Godfather Tommy alive. They aim to solve their other problem. Jabari trying to figure out who the student Kerry is sleeping with led to him stalking Tariq and figuring out his drug operation. He then wrote a book about it because he had nothing to write about, and also because his other book flopped. He agreed to pay Tariq for it to ensure the book came out well, but hearing of their names, Kane Tejada shoots Jabari. Trying to survive, he agrees to cover up the body and use Ramirez, a corrupt cop's gun, to make it look like he killed Jabari and fled. Kane was isolated from the family after aggressive outbursts. He accidentally assaulted Monet, and his actions caused Drew to get shot. He then single-handedly murdered the entire GTG squad, leaving Lil Guap alive to take 50% of their future profits. In this rage, he killed the only corrupt cop, Ramirez, that was working for the Tejada family, thus being casted out of the family for getting Drew shot and losing their connect Rico. Sachs was fired from the US attorney position after mishandling evidence and malpractice. His skill set was unique, and as a highly motivated individual, Davis invited him to the firm. After Jabari's death, Kevin Whitman, a detective, was dispatched to investigate. In a prior relationship with Whitman, he has personal bias against Carrie. Assuming her to be the prime suspect, he unravels the fact that she and Zeke are having an affair. Knowing her history with Jabari through Jabari's book, Carrie correlates it to be Tariq, and they with Dean Richard Wade authorizes a drug search in the dorms, leading to Lauren's arrest. Classmates had left drugs in her dorm to let her loosen up. US Attorney Jenny Sullivan constructed a deal for her to wear a wire against Tariq and Braden, and in turn they will remove the drug from her record. Looking at her career prospects, she agrees, and Tariq accidentally incriminates himself by admitting that he knows about the book, even though it wasn't published. This allowed them to get a warrant and search his room. They found Ramirez's badge that Kane had planted to ensure the Tejadas wouldn't go down for his murder. He is arrested for the Jabari and Ramirez murder. He talks to Rashad Tate, a former councilman with connections to the judge. He is given bail. Without a connect for the Tejadas, Kane links them with Mecca, a new connect, ensuring that they allow him back into the family. But during this time, Effie supports Tariq, helping him deal in other campuses and getting closer after her betrayal at Choate. The trial starts. Tariq had given Rashad a blackface photo of Sweeney in his congressional seat, so Rashad on the stand lied and confessed to knowing that they had confidential evidence on Tariq, exposing Lauren's potential involvement. Fearing for her life, Tariq manipulated Kerry into taking the stand, which turned out horrible. Davis used her past relationship with Zeke, Jabari, himself, and Whitman, implying that Tariq's guilty conviction will rid her from her ethical wrongdoing of having a sexual relationship with a student. But this trial turns worse. Braden is implicated with drugs, and they are made to testify against Tariq for immunity, except that when he takes the stand, he confesses that course correct was his idea and he created it, making any evidence from Tariq impossible to correlate, and the case against Tariq is dismissed. Lauren's wire caught Kane and Braden's conversation about drugs. Not wanting to take any chances from an informant, they are forced to off her. As an ex-girlfriend of Tariq, he allows her to escape town, Braden giving her a ride, but they are intercepted by Effie, knocking her out and drowning her. Diana Tejada steals money from the safe bar to pay Davis McLean to sift through evidence and release Lorenzo. He starts to change the business and outcast parts of his family, focusing on Diana and Drew, the next in line. They set up a plan to rob Mecca and frame Lorenzo, allowing Drew to assassinate Lil Guap for shooting him, and Mecca's real name is revealed to be Dante Spears, a major informant, one of the biggest. Tariq blackmails him to stay alive with a bag of all his documents. Monet and Dante used to be lovers, even having a son named Zeke. Diana reveals this during a dinner, and she is kicked out of the house. She visits Kerry, and knowing that she will steal Zeke from her, she murders Kerry and makes it look like a suicide. She now lives with Mecca. Because of the robbery, Mecca starts to kill runners for Lorenzo. He also gives Zeke one of his sport cars. Exposing Dante as a snitch, they decide to kill him, drawing out Lorenzo to a warehouse. Tariq transfers the documents back to Mecca for the blackmail that Diana transports, and they take out Mecca. But nosy Diana looked through the bag and found passports for everyone except Lorenzo. In a rage, he thought everyone was going to leave him. He quickly drove to the hangar, firing shots at Mecca entering his plane, and quickly fleeing. They are welcomed back into the family now that Mecca is dead. He later found out that it was Zeke that he had killed. Diana and Effie join Stansfield, Effie trying to get closer to Tariq and become his girlfriend, Diana trying to get some independence from her family and drugs. Able to expose their illegal activities, Bash blackmails Tariq for $1 million after shutting down his app, but they end up murdering him to hide this. With Mecca and Zeke dead, they now own his apartment. They also meet his wife Noma, a drug dealing kingpin that wants them to take over for Mecca, only surviving because they need to sell her drugs. Braden is expelled from Stansfield for the drug operation, and this new opportunity leads him to find an internship for Tariq at Weston Holdings. Braden's uncle, Lucas Weston, supports the idea and is proud of them for creating Course Correct. They create another drug operation using Crashcoin, a cryptocurrency Wall Street investors can trade in for a coffee with a false bottom full of coke. Sleeping with Jenny Sullivan, Sachs wants to get justice for Lauren now that she is gone, and agrees to be their mole inside Davis's firm against Tariq and the Tejadas. Jenny starts to hide evidence from Sachs, fearing that he might be a mole for Davis, and he discerns that Lauren is still alive and living at a safe house. They rescued her from the flooding car, and she has been hiding there ever since. He admits that they can't hold her there by will, so she sneaks out at night to meet Tariq, retrieving a burner and mixed feelings if she could trust him or not. Sachs helps Davis get his brother Rollins out of prison, but after Lauren reveals that Sachs is a mole to Tariq, he tells Davis, which he accidentally lets slip, that Sachs is a mole. Rollins can't let anyone hurt his brother, so he kills Sachs and offs himself to protect Davis. Lorenzo finally admits that he killed Zeke on accident, and Monet flips, telling him to leave town before he is caught, telling the Castillos that Lorenzo was the reason their father died. Gordo kills Lorenzo at night. Once Drew finds this out, he has to murder Gordo for this, and the entire Castillos. In her last moments, Evelyn tells Drew that Monet sent them after Lorenzo, creating a divide between them and Monet. Brayden sleeps with Vice President Kiki. Looking through the numbers, Brayden realizes that Western Holdings, the investment firm, is actually a Ponzi scheme. The investors will never get their money back. He admits this information, and Tariq uses this to get Rashad to give Obi's family green cards, allowing for Obi to delay Noma more. Rashad unveils this news and causes the family's eventual destruction, but he gains the congressional seat, trying to save himself. Lucas orchestrates a deal with the feds to get immunity, but Brayden arrives at his hideout to try and convince him to confess, but his narcissistic and self-absorbed attitude enrages Brayden, pushing him off the edge to his death. He quickly writes a suicide note to cover up the crime and confess that everything that went wrong was his fault. Tariq gets Brayden and Effie to admit that they murdered Lauren, driving a wedge between them, and he frames Effie for dealing drugs. She is arrested and set without bail. Knowing that Effie will snitch to save herself and that she has a photo of Noma's daughter that they can use against Noma, they strategize to save her. Also that there is a potential RICO charge against them all. They blackmail Lauren, threatening to murder her entire family if she testifies, and she recants her statement, fleeing the country with her family. Without evidence, they release Effie. Her and Tariq still have beef for lying about Lauren. 2-Bit visits again, taking more money and his car, also warning him about Tasha's location and that Tommy will kill them. They got the information from Monet. He speeds down and saves Tasha from Tommy. They hash out their familial affairs and agree not to kill each other anymore. Drew and Diana hate Monet for killing Lorenzo and hiding it, so they strategize a way to take her out. Diana convinces Tariq to help them. Additionally, that Monet tried to get Tasha killed. During the plan, Tasha pulls up and blasts the car, blaming Monet for Tariq's problems. Monet is hit and quickly taken to the hospital in critical condition. Drew and Diana inform Kane that Tariq tried to kill them. After killing his uncle, Brayden decides to leave the game. Tariq sets up a meeting with Noma to try and blackmail her with the photo and gain leverage, but Kane and the Tejadas come out, ready to kill Tariq, unveiling the fact that it wasn't Monet, but Diana in a wig. Even Effie. She had alerted Noma and now her daughter is safe. Brayden arrives at the scene, starting a massive shootout against the Tejadas, Noma and Effie. As they flee the scene, they realize they have now started a war. Obi had tipped off Brayden because they sent his family the green cards. This is where the series ends. Make sure to subscribe, and for more, watch this.